Good morning.
Morning. Hello. Morning.
Hi everyone.
Hello. Welcome. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me
Well,
okay?
sure, all right. I mean, we always wait a few minutes before everybody is in.
Yeah,
Nice
yeah.
to see you all.
Yeah, great to see you.
Hi Vicky,
Yeah, good.
Hi.
Steve.
Hi.
Hi Steve. All right,
Good morning.
Vicky. Hi, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
All right, let's.
Ben just called me, so I think he will be in a minute in the call.
All right, that's fine. I'm just watching the participants list for anyone who might join. In the meanwhile, let's log into the game so we don't waste any time. Not log into the game. I mean, log into the Rich Dad Poor Dad site. So we would, I think, we might have a better response today. Now that Matt is here and there Ben is on his way. Sunny has already confirmed that it would be a meeting. So
I think
very
Ben
encouraging.
just joined.
Ben has just joined. Hi Ben.
Hello,
Morning,
Ben.
yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
You woke up on time without the wake up call.
Yeah. I actually woke up like at 6 o'clock, but I was like, why am I awake? I don't know. Then I went back to sleep.
We all do that.
Oh my god. I just gave a call to a couple of people. So
Oh, nice. Vicky just mentioned.
cool. I'll be on the sideline a little bit. So I need my coffee. So yeah, I'll come back.
Sure. Yes. Ben and the famous coffee. And if you watch the previous videos, you always see Ben walking around the kitchen. He always joins from the kitchen.
Yeah, somebody stole my office. So as soon as soon as it's free, then I'll be there.
Good, good.
All right, be right back.
All right. Aaron is here. I think first time. All right. Messaging on.
Hello, Mateus. By the way, welcome.
Hello. Yeah, I don't think we had the chance to meet
No,
before, like face to face in the pandemic world. Let's call it.
exactly. I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you before, so okay, cool.
Oh, I thought you walked in more like Connor, like who is this guy?
Yeah, exactly.
Guys, mind your language because this is going international and we are going to be
Family
hearing
show.
this
This
up
is a
on.
family show.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, okay,
family show.
okay.
Okay, and we're going on
Sorry.
YouTube, so it goes on
it's
permanent record.
it's it's something Lijo has to work on now. Extra work. Put
Yes.
put on a beep.
Guys, last night was really cool. I didn't expect that I would laugh that that much.
That was
You
the
know, like Ben said, it was family game, and
absolutely,
now the
Yeah,
Zoom.
absolutely.
I could hear you laughing hard.
Morning, Aaron speaking.
Hi, Evan. Welcome to the game. Welcome to the meeting, rather.
Thank you.
Nice
So,
to see
how are
you.
you guys? Sorry, I
All
just
good.
woke up.
You alright?
Hey, Aaron made it. I woke you up.
That's right, yeah. called
Great.
me just a few minutes ago.
Right.
Right. Let me just post on the group. Okay. So, oh, okay. So, all right, guys, I just want to talk a little about the messages that I've been putting out. At least a few of you must have wondered why this is being pushed so much. Why we are, why do I put so much effort into advertising? Within the group, advertising, motivating people to join the Zoom meeting. Actually, it's got nothing to do with the Zoom meeting itself. The way I've been pushing it. I don't know if you've taken it in a better sense, but most of the time, the reason why I do these messages is, if you've noticed, I've always changed the way it is presented. I mean, I put different messages, different words over there, different emojis over there. The reason why I do all this is so that maybe someone would notice, or maybe someday I could speak about it. That action words, action words matter a lot when we try and do sales. When we are doing sales, most of us are stuck with this thinking that if we describe the product well, it will be sufficient to make the sale. But most of the time, it is not just the product that makes the sale. It is the salesman, it is the communication that makes the sale. It is the call for action. Most people present the product well. And why am I talking about sales? Because sales is the most important aspect of entrepreneurship. If you can't sell, then forget about entrepreneurship. That's what Kiyosaki says. The first thing that he did, the job that he took up in Xerox, he was a total failure at it. But the reason why he took it up, and the reason why Rich Dad encouraged him to take it up, is because he wanted Robert to be good in sales, to develop in sales, to be trained in sales. And this is one of the reasons why I keep posting these messages, pushing these messages. So if you notice, every message has three parts. One is the information. Two is the detail. Three is the call for action. And all these three things should be included in all our sales messages. Every time you present, every time we talk to someone about something, every time we even go for a job interview. A job interview is where you are the product and you are also the salesman. So when you go for that, there's information. It's basic information. Oh, my name is Lijo. I'm a graduate. I'm a postgraduate in this subject. This is what I've been doing so far. That's information. Number two is detail. I have to explain myself in a way that the other person understands. I have to explain
Sorry, what
myself.
was number 2?
Come again, Matt?
I didn't quite catch the number 2.
Okay. So we are in number 1 is information.
Yeah, got that one.
Okay. Number 2 is detail.
Detail. Okay,
Detail
thank you.
or specifications. Detail. No? You explain and you make the person understand the other person. You make the customer understand what the real value or the depth of the value of the product is. So if you've noticed, if you go back to the group messages, you'll see global game, deep discussions, international perspectives, extreme insights. Something like this has always been posted, even in the previous. All right, there goes Erskine and Sunny. Erskine, Sunny, nice to have you back. Erskine, after a long time, and this time we see you in good light. Erskine, are you connected? Think your audio is okay? Okay.
I think we need to connect the audio because currently you're muted, so we can't really hear what you're saying.
All right, Erskine, hi.
Hi.
All right, you're in office?
Not in office. I'm in home right now.
Okay. All right, I was saying nice to see you in good light. Mostly we see you in the dark backgrounds.
I really can't hear you right now because there's some distortion in the voice. So
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Is my audio okay to everybody? I don't know if everybody can hear me. I've never asked this time.
Well, there's some distortion, Joe, when you're speaking, which makes it a bit more difficult to understand. Like there is some distortion on your mic, and when you're saying, the mic keeps playing, no matter are you speaking or no.
Let me see. Let me test my audio once. Really?
Much better.
Okay. All right. I need to take this in for warranty replacement now. All right. Let me find a way to put this up here. So I will.
okay. After here, I will be just listening. I will participate if it's needed. So
Sure, sir.
yes.
All right. Does it sound good? Look good? That's two of me over there, which is not necessary.
Nice.
Is it okay, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. You could have two cameras and in TV, like camera number 2, you're saying something to the one camera and then you're twisting and saying something to the second camera.
All right. No, because
yeah.
right. I'll get this fixed very soon. I was hoping to get it fixed last week, but it didn't happen, unfortunately.
It's much better now.
Yeah, the sound is
All
really
right.
much better now. Thanks.
Really? Okay. All right. Okay. Good. Great. I just can't get the right angle here. Okay. No, it doesn't look like it's going to work either. All right. Let me see. Mhm. Okay. Looks. All right. I have a very careful arrangement here. So we'll see if it works for the rest of the meeting. All right. So we were talking about. So I was telling you guys why I take so much of effort into making those messages. So the first thing that we do in sales is, number one, we inform. So you have to make sure in every communication, every time we speak to someone, every time we're trying to convince someone, every time we're uh, trying to connect with someone regarding a particular subject, we always make sure that the information, which is the most important part, or which is one of the most important things, the information is communicated, which means they know what you're talking about. So they are prepared, they are ready to listen, they are interested, they say, okay, oh, they are, they are happy to say, yes, we will take this further, right? So that's number one. Number two is about detail. So once you have given the information, now they are interested, they are curious, they want to know what this is about. So you have to give them an explanation. You have to give them an explanation in a way that they would understand. Is all right. Ben is asking. Somebody, could you respond to Ben? All right. Okay. All right. So the second part is about detail. So you have to tell them what this is about in detail in a way that they understand. So they are with you in your communication. You have to take them along with you in your communication, or it is not going to help. So that is why in the message you see things like global game. It is going to be what is that? Deep discussions. It is going to be international perspectives. It is going to be extreme insight. So it is about uh, it is explaining about what this is going to be about and what is going to be covered and things like that. Now the third part is the call for action. Now most people, they do a great job in point number one and point number two. They do great information, they inform people, they do great detailing, which means they explain, they are technical top shots. They explain in great detail about the product or the service or whatever they are trying to communicate, the idea behind the meeting. The third part is where most people fail. And this is because the most people, they don't fail actually, they hesitate. And they hesitate because there is an apprehension and they say, how can I ask him to take action? But the question, now this is
Well,
where,
that was the question.
yes, Matt?
No, I was just saying what was the question, and you're expecting the answer. How can we make a call for reaction?
Yes, the call for action. You want to say something about the call for action, Matt?
No. I just thought you asked me the question. Like, give me the example.
No. You can contribute. This is a free session. Okay, we are not. There's no boss here. There's no leader or there's no. I just hosted because we started it that way, and that's all.
No, no worries, no worries.
Everybody discusses in the same way over here. So I'm just happy to talk a lot. So I do that.
No worries.
So the third part is the call for action, and the call for action is where most people, they miss the bus because they think asking someone to take action is say below what they, below their pride, or asking for a result, demanding something is going to make the customer uncomfortable. So when this happens, uh, you fall back a little, and then you think, should I not? But how would I know if I don't? So there's this conflict going on inside your mind, uh, trying to figure out, am I doing it right? Because if I ask the question, then I'm demanding an answer. Most people don't want to demand an answer. If I ask a question, I am stepping into uncertainty. Until now, I was certain. I knew what to inform about. I knew what the detail is about. So I gave them the information, I gave them the details. But what if I ask them and they say no? This fear of rejection, this attitude of doubt, this attitude of apprehension is what keeps most people away from asking that question: what are you going to do? Are you going to are you with me, or are you not? Are you going to take my choices? Are you going to take my offer or not? Now, if you don't ask this question, if we don't ask this question, what is the cue for the other person to push him to take action?
Hmm.
Most of the time, sales is not about informing, it is about connecting. You have to connect with the other person's needs and ask him that question. And asking that question is the most difficult part for most people. So essentially, what I'm trying to say is sales is about learning to ask that question in the right way, in the right way, so that you are no longer afraid of rejection, and you have connected the need of the person with the product, the service, the action that you are calling for.
Hey, Leju, I have a question to ask.
All right,
Can you?
who is that?
This is Sunny.
Sunny. Yes, Sunny, please, please.
Are you a marketer?
Am I a marketer?
Yeah, because you are really good at it. The process. You are good at the process of stuff.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Okay, so if you want my background, uh, I'm an engineer. I did my graduation in engineering, and then I did my master's in business administration. So that's what I studied. So this is a part of the question. So uh, when I was looking for a job, so I was looking for a job. Everybody was asking me to get one, and I was looking for a job. And when I was talking to people, so I did understand earlier that getting connected with people, building a good network is the best way to land a good job. Because if I didn't have the right network, then I wouldn't get the dream job. So I was trying to connect with people. I was networking with people. I was talking to them, getting their ideas. Until that point, I had never thought about sales because I thought of myself as okay. When I was looking, when this happened, I was not, I had not done my master's, so I was just a graduate. I graduated in medical electronics engineering, which is basically about medical equipments and how they work, what makes them work, how you get them, how you use them in hospitals and medical field. So that was my graduation. So once I did that, I was looking for this job, and one of my friends, I still respect him a lot for this. He was right up in this field. He was into medical equipment trading. He was running a company which distributed medical equipment. So I was talking to him, and he told me a technical job is something that you can go back to anytime. All you need to know is the technology that is working, the technology that is happening at that time. So a technical job is something that you can go to anytime in your life. But sales is not something like that. Sales, somebody has to trust you enough to give you that opportunity because sales is the only thing that brings revenue into the company. Everything else, everything else is an expense. Sales is the only inward remittance that any company can expect. Products, services, whatever it may be. The only thing that brings money into the company is sales. So he tells me this, and I start thinking, yes, I would be happy if I could get a sales job because that would be a good learning opportunity. So I started applying for, until then, I had never applied for a sales job. So I started applying for a sales job, and along with all the other jobs that I was applying for. And I was a freshman in sales, so I had never done sales before, so I had no track record to show. And still, someone offered me an interview, gave me the job, so I was there in sales. And it didn't even happen that it was a sales job when it was advertised. So there was an advertisement for an engineer's position. I applied for the job. He didn't tell me what exactly he wanted. It was a small firm. It was a startup. So he didn't tell me exactly what the profile was because he was from a different country and I was from a different country. So we couldn't exactly communicate um all the ideas. The only thing he could tell me was, I need someone to help me. Uh, I need someone to help me with my work. And it was a startup, so I would understand startups, and I would say, so I said, okay, let's do it. 3 weeks later, he says, all right, all your formalities have been completed. Now let's start with your, now you have to bring in your sales. So I was like, what? Is this what we discussed? Is this what we were thinking about in the first place? I didn't say it out loud. I said yes. I said yes because my friend had already told me that if someone offers you a sales job, take it because that's the only way you would get into a sales job because someone has to trust you. So I took it. Long story short, I was fired from my job after 11 months. I was fired because I couldn't make sales. I was fired because I tried everything and I couldn't bring in the revenue. I had taken my salary for 11 months and they said, okay, you're no good at this. Take a walk. So I walked. And then I went to enroll myself for my master's in business administration. And alongside, I was working with another firm, which also needed a salesman, but never told me that they wanted salesman. Again, a startup. So a lot of new ideas were coming in, and I was supposed to be the best person with the best language over there. And that was because I would read a lot. I would do a lot of public speaking and all of that entertainment stuff, games and competitions and things like that. So fortunately, the advantage of language worked in favor of me, and I was given the responsibility of only presenting the business ideas to investors, people who would invest in different projects. So when that happened, I was not calling for action. I was doing the information part. I was doing the detail part, and I was really good at it. So I built myself up. I would learn everything about the product. I would learn everything about the project. I would learn everything about the venture, and I would present. So I would present. And by the way, in between, something that I did actually contributed a lot to my communication skills, because I was a radio anchor at one point of time. This was a free stuff that I was doing. I was just doing it as part of my. I mean, as a I was having fun. So I did a radio presenter's job, but it was all scripted. So I would prepare the script myself. I would voice it on the radio, and that actually helped me because my producer was really keen on getting the best result out of my communication. Because on the radio, you can't see me like you can see me right now. On the radio, you can only hear me. And if you study communication, they say 70% of your communication happens with your expressions, with your face, with your body language. So I had the handicap of being on radio, and the only thing that my audience would hear was my voice. So I was forced to put a lot of expressions into my voice, and this actually helped me develop everything else, because I developed. And then I was all this job thing that I was talking to you about happened in the Gulf, in the Middle East. I was in Dubai, and this was happening over there. And there, Dubai is a multicultural environment. You have a lot of people from a lot of different countries, and all these people, they speak different accents. They have different cultural sensitivities. So you can only speak in certain. You cannot speak about everything to them. You cannot speak about. You cannot speak all the. I mean, you cannot just simply translate things when you're trying to communicate with them. You have to be very careful about what you're speaking, and you have to be very expressive to them, so that what would be lacking in the words, it would be present in your body language. It would be, they would feel the sincerity, they would feel the earnestness or the honesty in the communication. So I was going through all this, and then I had a very good mentor come into my life, who taught me more about sales, who taught me more about how. This is when I started analyzing a lot of different business models, a lot of different ways in which people present, and I started attending seminars or talk shows and things like that. So I was always on the lookout for what helps me to develop my sales skills, because I was sensing that there was something missing. The information part was great, the details part was great, but the conversion could only happen if I were good at the call for action, if I was good at making the other person make the decision, helping the other person make the decision. This is what sales is all about. Because you know the detail about the product, you know the detail about, you know how it can fit into the other person's life, the other person's need, the other person's business. But the only way you can express this, the only way you can ask the person to make that choice is through the call for action. So this is what I discovered. This is what my mentor, and I'm really grateful to him. I'm really thankful. I still keep in touch, even though we are very far away. I still keep in touch. And this is when the real thing struck me. If I don't demand the the answer to the question, I will never know. And which means if I don't know, I cannot move on with the next prospect. I cannot move. I will spend my time without knowing the choice that my customer has made. So I was wasting a lot of time trying to find out indirectly. And this is what most of us do. Say, okay, he said this, so which means he is interested. But he also said this, which means he may not be interested. He said this, which means he sees the benefit in this. He said this, which means he could really be facing problems making that decision. So this constant battle keeps going on in our head, and we say, "All right, I don't know if I'm wasting time or not," and the other person says, "I can't make up my mind." This is where sales comes in to the climax. We say, "Are you in or are you out?" Those of you who work at some dealerships, okay, this meeting is coming to an end because 40 minutes is up. This is a free session of Zoom for the benefit of everyone who's joined us for the first time. We will restart this meeting. Every one of us will rejoin, and then we will continue the discussion. We will go on to play the game if time permits, and then we will look at a few deals over there. So all this is going to happen.
Lijo, I have two questions for you, maybe for next 40 minutes.
Yes, that's it.
You said you have make your bachelor's in engineering, so after that you have make the master of business administration. So I'm on that spot right now. I'm thinking about making the master of business administration, but since you have done this, I can.
Hello again.
Hello.
Oh, haven't heard you or hear you or see you in a long time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
The weather. So. I was just going through my notes actually. I have some notes on digital marketing and advertisement and advertising. Promote what if you thought the importance of the call to action?
Sorry, come again, Matt.
I was just going through my notes on digital marketing and advertising. I've got in my, let's say, book of knowledge.
All right.
One of the requirements for a successful landing page, so that the first page that the potential prospect will be taken just after clicking the link, it's actually called call to action. So even if you're doing sales, maybe not like proactively, but you've got, let's say, you build a system that's supposed to be doing sales for you. One of the requirements, one of like the essentials, also should be the call for action. So not only you are presenting the information, what service you're offering, you can write the confidence of the prospect through, for example, reviews and related testimonials. But you can also get that call to action to try to close the sale straight away on the first page.
Right. Yes, regardless of how you do the sales, it can be online, offline, direct, indirect. You could be facing the prospect, you could be talking to them over the phone. It doesn't matter how you actually do your sales. Your medium can be different, but what is most important is that you are um making these three parts in there
Mhm.
in whichever way is effective. Now we are on the club, we are chatting. So we are chatting, and the reason why we have all these emojis and the things are because we need to be able to express ourselves where our face is not seen. Now this is going back to somewhere where my radio anchoring days, when only my voice could be heard by the audience and not my face. So when my face is out of the picture, I need to find a way to express myself, and that medium was my voice. Now here in the when we are talking about something in the club chat, we are not able to see each other, we are not able to hear each other. So this is a bigger handicap, this is a bigger difficulty than the radio. And in that case, then the next thing that has to be done is to put in some emojis, put in some pictures that people can relate to, pictures that, if you have noticed, I don't know how many of you have noticed, but the clock symbol that I've used in my communication actually shows 8 o'clock.
I have noticed.
Yes. So that was 800 hours GMT. So this goes into when you are preparing an advertisement, when you're preparing a communication, the care and detail that you have to put into getting this message right, getting this message. One of the things that you when I came across different business models, so my mentor was actually trying to um, teach me about different business models and uh, how they evolved, and what is the benefit of one business model from another. What is a franchise business, what is a distributorship, what is a retailership, what is how do all these things work. So we were constantly discussing all these things, and I was constantly encouraged to look at a business and figure out what kind of business model they might be following. So this is something that this is an exercise which I still do today, where I still, when I look at a business, when I look at a business idea, I try and match it with the best business model that can be used for that particular business venture or the business or for a product. Because you have to learn to look at it from the perspective of the customer. And when you are doing great information, when you are doing great detail, and you stop there, you are not looking at it from the customer's perspective. You are looking at it from your knowledge. You are looking at it because you know something. You are looking at it to communicate everything that you know. You are just dumping it on the customer. That's not good enough to get good sales, to get good conversions. What is more important is to know that the other person is connected strongly with the idea that you are trying to express. If the person is not connected, then you will never have a sale. If the person is connected, he will give his life for you. Just because you make the other person understand, you make the other person, um, you bring that clarity, you bring that clarity to tell the other person I feel your pain. I feel your pain, and sales always happens over a pain point. If you feel the other person's pain, then you know, yes, you are on the right track. You are trying to solve a problem together. You are trying to take away the pain or even reduce the pain together. When you're doing this together, you are a partner with your customer. You are a partner with a customer, not a contractor. You are not a contractor for your customer. Most people, most of us, when we uh, explain something, we explain it as we know it, not as how they want to hear it. And most of the time, all they want to hear is how is it going to take my pain away or even reduce it. And if we succeed in that, that is your call for action. I have shown you how this will take your pain away. I have shown you how this will reduce your pain. What is your decision? So you are effectively, or rather, let's say, you are effectively saying, I have understood your pain.
Mm-hmm.
I empathize with your pain. I have shown you how this particular product, service, venture that I am pitching, I am offering, will reduce the pain or take it away. Now that I have done all these things, what is your action? Now it is in your control. It is in your hands. It is your decision to make. And if you make the wrong decision, it is your loss to bear it. You know, there's always a little element of fear in the customer's mind. Fear for two things. When we yesterday we had a great game. We were actually I don't know. All right, neither of them are here. We had I either or either, I don't know how to pronounce the name, IDIR. So we had him join the club yesterday, and we had one more person joined us yesterday. And that was
Ashley, wasn't it?
Ashley. Yes, yes, Ashley joined us yesterday, and I love the team effort that we put to create value for the club members. And Ben and me, we've been discussing this for a while now. We've done this before together as well, because we've played a lot of games together. But yesterday, what happened was there was this whole team of club mates. There were six of us. Steve was there. Vicky was there. Ersin was also there for a while. I was there. Ben was there. So with all of us, what we did was that we created value. We created a necessity. We connected the value of the product, which is the membership to the Cashflow Club, to the Global Cashflow Club. We connected the value of this with the fear of losing it. We put the picture forward that this was the only chance for a life-changing opportunity. This was the only chance for a life-changing opportunity, and that demanded their complete commitment. And it was a difficult thing to achieve only because it was they were supposed to have the fear of losing this opportunity. So by putting forward this fear of losing this opportunity, by emphasizing on that, it created a greater commitment towards the joining of the group. I think I've done this with I've made this same strategy with many people who have joined the group, whom I have invited to the group, to the club. I have told them, I have made them wait. I don't know how many of you have been made to wait by me, but I have always told most people, sorry, it's not easily available. If you don't show that kind of interest, if you are not keen on it, then sorry, it will not be given to you. Because I want to make sure that they realize their pain, and I want to make sure that they realize that this will lessen the pain that they're going through. This will actually help them to grow in financial education, because we do that. We put a lot of effort into building this, building everyone, building a community, sharing our knowledge, sharing information, sharing our insights, and putting every opportunity to use. So when we do this, you want to make sure that they also realize, each one realizes the value, the depth of what they are being offered. And that is where the fear factor has to come in. Anyone in insurance sales over here? Anyone who does insurance, sales of insurance? No, I guess.
Sorry, I haven't heard the question properly. Could you repeat, please?
Uh, is there anyone who is involved with in sales of insurance?
In sales, like anyone was doing sales?
In insurance.
I only had a friend. But he, I found out that he quit his job or something. So it must have been pretty hard for him. I don't know.
All right. So when you want to take an insurance policy, I've had friends in who are into sales and insurance, and most of them tell me, when you want to do sales in insurance, this is one of the most difficult. Uh, Most people consider insurance uh, as the last thing they want in life. You know, they insure uh, because the agent, the insurance agent, the sales executive for the insurance company, they actually spend a lot of time following up, chasing these guys, pushing them until they actually say, okay, most of the time people take insurance because they've been forced to, not because they've been, not because that's not their first choice. And so the one of the things that insurance sales guys always push forward is the danger of trouble. What happens if you get into trouble? What happens if you are unable to go to work? What happens if you crash your car? Will you be able to put up the money to repair it? Will you be able to put up the money to get a new one? What happens if your house catches fire? We heard very few incidents of a house catching fire, let even your furniture catching fire. So for us, it is not an experience. So we are less convinced about it. But they bring in this fear factor and say, okay, this is a very small price for you to pay to cover yourself and get rid of that fear. Don't have to worry about anything. We take your worries for a small fee. That's exactly what an insurance guy would tell you. But nevertheless, When you call for action, now call for action has to be done in a very, very uh, clear but contextual way, which is why most people are afraid of doing it. Most of us, even I was, for the same reason, I wouldn't ask a guy straight. I wouldn't ask him or her, what is your choice? Because I was afraid. What if they make a choice which is against my benefit? Something that I realized, and this is very, very important. At least for me, it's very, very important. Whenever I sell something, I make sure that I am convinced the other guy needs it. So I never oversell. I don't sell something which is uh, not necessary for the other guy, or which I don't believe is necessary for the other guy. So the customer is always, I am convinced that you need it. So when I make my communication, I am convinced that everybody needs to be here today. I am convinced that everybody has to participate in a discussion like this. I'm convinced that everybody needs to have an opportunity to be here. I'm convinced that everybody needs to have, everybody has, should have the privilege of having a group that where you can discuss everything openly, discuss everything in detail, discuss everything regardless of what your concern is. So if I am convinced, I have no problem asking you who is going to join this meeting today. And I'm not afraid, and I'm not afraid I might lose something. I'm not afraid that I might be rejected, because I believe that what is happening in this club, what this club has evolved to, or if I'm outside and selling something, I'm convinced that what I'm selling is something that is very, very necessary for you as a customer. So the first thing that I want to do as a salesperson is to believe in the product, is to believe that I have found the necessity, the pain of the other person, the customer. I need to believe that uh, I have identified how my product, my service, my assistance, my support can help the other person reduce his pain or take it away completely. And then I have to be convinced. Now, this is where the call for action comes in. I have to be convinced that I have offered the best solution that I have to the other person. Once I've done this, I have no difficulty in believing that now you make the choice. You want to be in this meeting? You are free. Come, take control, benefit from it, make the best of it. You don't want to come in? Fine. You are in control of your choices. If you don't want to come in, if you are not here, it is not my loss. It is not the loss of it. Or rather, the loss of the club is less than your individual loss. So when I believe this, I think Ben, you remember we discussed something like this in chat. Anyway, when I believe this, I have absolutely no difficulty in saying, are you going to be there? So I really don't care. We have done this meeting with just 2 people.
So this is the attitude that I carry. This is the attitude that I would suggest for anyone who is getting into sales, and everyone has to get into sales. You are always selling. We are always selling. We are selling ideas. We are selling companionship. We are selling. Now, what is sales? Sales is to get the other person. Your successful sale is when you get the other person to agree with you. Now, you are able to come to an agreement. You are able to come to an agreement. Okay, sales in terms of finance or economics is a little different. Sales is when you actually have a transaction happen. But if you are talking about there's no money involved here. But if you're talking about sales, then it is about getting the other person to meet with you, on that idea, getting the other person to meet with you on the concept, getting the other person to meet with you in your opinions. And that is sales. And this is a crucial point in every sale, regardless of. I mean, sometimes, yes, you offer money, you offer commissions to the purchaser. Let's say I'm a trader, I have some goods, I sell to a company, I'm selling to a hotel, I'm selling hotel supplies to a hotel, and I strike a deal with the purchaser, with the purchase manager, and I tell him, okay, here's your cut. Now, where's the merit of the sale? Even in such a situation, the fact is that you are selling. You are meeting the purchaser where he or she, with his idea, you are meeting them at their idea, and you are agreeing, you are connecting, and the sale happens. The transaction follows. And this is how, this is where we connect with people and make sure that you are sharing value with them at the same level or at agreeable level. All right, Dustin, see you. Nice to have you around. I will discuss, we will call and we will speak about your concern. Or I will speak about your concern right here, the way I see it. And we will, you can watch it back later.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a nice meeting.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. So, Matt, are we doing good?
Sorry, what was that?
Is this in line with what you were thinking? Is this in line with?
Yeah, absolutely. It matches. It also kind of reminds me the straight line selling system by Jordan Belfort. So the original Wolf of Wall Street.
Really?
Basically,
I would love to read that book. Why don't you post the title of the book in the club chat?
Sorry, once again, why?
The book that you just mentioned. Mm-hmm. Do post the name of the title and the author.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the club chat.
Worthy to read. Plus, Jordan Belfort on his YouTube, he's covering a bit of a sales, so he's explaining the whole process of looping. Why are we doing certain things and why are we saying certain things? Plus, he was doing some he's doing something called Wednesday. Wait, Whiteboard Wednesday or something. So definitely worthy to take a look. He was basically explaining how looping works and how we can take the objection. So for example, you are I would be trying to sell something to you, and you're telling that yeah, let's say I need to talk to my wife, or talk to whoever. And basically, he was giving more advice on how to deal with the objection. So that's the one thing. And another thing that is kind of matching from what you said is that the customer or prospect at that stage, because we haven't done the sale yet, need to cover everything. So need to love our product, need to feel confident in our brand, and need to basically love us as a feel confidence in us as a person who sells. So it's pretty much covering from what you said. I think the wording is a bit different, but it's the same.
Great. Anyone else who would like to contribute to this discussion? Matt has been very active, so that's the reason why I picked him up to continue this discussion. But anyone else free to free to speak.
I don't like sales who use a really dramatic and really harsh and hard marketing on you and try to sell something that okay, they need to sell, but you don't need it, or they put you in a situation. If it was your mom and you need money for the hell and so on, you will have this. And I don't like aggressive marketing, and this is a really big problem of salesmen, in my opinion, And here in Bulgaria, half of the sales are really aggressive, which is not my cup of tea. They need to have lines, they need to have some really good strategies, but not that kind of aggressive marketing.
I mean, the kind of aggressive marketing you mentioned, Vicky, it's quite classic for like 90s and like, let's say 2000 in UK or in USA. I think, for example, countries like Eastern Europe, so for example, probably my country as well, Poland would be probably quite close. People are still doing push sale, which is basically about pushing the values onto you and pushing you to call for action. So I'm telling you that my product is the best. I'm telling you that my product will cure whatever your problem is, and I want you to pay and close straight away. The difference I found out when I was working for companies in UK, and I was doing recruitment sales. So basically, the service we've been supplying is staffing. So I was calling companies. I mean, cold calling. Cold calling it's another thing, and that's for example harsh, in my opinion, on person who's calling. But how most of the sales looks nowadays is you're calling company, and after you are able to talk to DM as the decision maker, you're basically building the report through asking the question. So you're not doing push sale as such. You are doing more full sale, which means you get like the set of questions. You're asking the potential prospect of all those questions you've got. Like, for example, how many people are you using? What type of the business you're doing? And by that also, what you're doing, you're trying to create something called pain threshold. So what Lee was, can I say Lee?
Sure, please go ahead.
What Lee was saying earlier on about using pain and understanding the pain of prospect. Sometimes you also need to create that pain in the first place, or actually not really create the pain, but acknowledge them that pain and the problem is actually real, and then they can potentially consider your solutions as something that can relieve them from this pain. I hope that makes some sense.
Yeah, thanks.
Now, okay, we are running the last 8 minutes of this meeting. We will have one more session, so that completes the 2 hours that we keep as a limit for these meetings on weekends, because everybody's got things to do. All right, so two topics that came up in this discussion between Vicky and Matt and the rest of us. One is about the aggression that salespeople demonstrate, and two is about the connect that you try to build with your prospect, which Matt mentioned, that you try to ask them questions and you discover their pain points, right? Or you expect to discover the pain point. Now, both of these are actually mass market approaches. These are actually quite common, but these are two different things. The aggression that you push, okay, now looks like I'll have to discuss since topic in the last session, in the last 40 minutes. But okay, let's go on with it. I always believe, how many of you have heard of Larry King? He was a staff of BBC. He had a great show, a talk show on BBC. The guy is called Larry King. You should look him up.
Yeah.
Larry King. Larry King Live was his show on BBC. So Larry King Live. The guy is gone now. Larry King, I think 3 years ago he passed away. 3 or 4 years ago he passed away. But he was he was one of the top rated talk show guys. And one thing that he always mentioned, somebody there was an interview of Larry King. Normally, Larry King is the one who does the interviews, and this was an interview of Larry King. I don't know if you can find it on YouTube or something like that. But in one of those things, he said, "I always follow up." So what he says is, he listens first. He listens to his um, he listens to the person whom he is interviewing, and he follows up. Now, if you notice, this is exactly what I have done right now. I have listened to Vicky, I have listened to Matt, and I have picked two topics to summarize from what both of you mentioned, and I have decided to put that into the pool. I have decided to add that. I have decided to connect with that. Now, this is something that a good salesman should always do. Listen, number one. Connect, number two. Then you can take over because you have an advantage. But without listening, if you push your product, that makes you a great information provider. It makes you a great details provider, but it doesn't make you a great sales. Now, this is when Wiki gets put off. When people push, push, push without listening to Wiki. All right, Erin, I hear you. What is the difference between art of selling and the technique of selling? I don't know how you describe that. You could say, I don't know the difference. I don't see it different. I see it as, okay, let me look at, all right. They go together. Yes, Ben, for me, it's all one and the same thing. For me, sales is connecting. Okay, that was a question of my sales pitch. All right, okay. Like what Matt mentioned, now let's quickly come to that before the end of this meeting, and then we'll connect back and we will discuss this. Okay, we'll discuss this answer. All right, let's see. So what Matt mentioned is about the call center industry. How you call a person, right, Matt? You can stop me if I'm wrong, if I'm in the wrong direction. If I understood wrongly, you can stop. So the call center industry, and you ask questions. You try and get the background. You get the environment about the client, and then you make a choice about what you are going to connect with. Where is that pain? You try and guess. Basically, you try and make an informed guess about what the pain point is for that customer. Uh, these are great when you are doing mass sales because you are trying to generalize, and then you are trying to get uh, where to connect, or what is the you're trying to generalize between the people that you're dealing with. Now, one approach is to sell, 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 like Vicky said. The other one is what is your background? How many people do you have? What kind of services do you outsource? What what is the time frame that you take to find your people? So you ask them questions. You try to figure out if they have if they get a chance to explain where they would like to see an improvement, and try and pitch that as an advantage. But there is a slightly different approach that I take, and that is to engage the customer or to engage the prospect. Now, to engage the prospect is not so easy. To engage the prospect is all right. It takes a lot of effort. Last 1 minute. It takes a lot of effort to make a person speak to you, and when you make a person open up to you, the first thing that any person would say to you is their pain. All right, okay. Since we're all connected back, uh, all right. Now let's put this in for discussion. Aaron is here. Okay, yes, Aaron is here. Uh, the
To the group.
sales technique, right? Technique of sales, technique of selling, and art of selling. What is the difference between the two?
Yeah, I need to make a
I don't.
research about it.
All right.
I would say
Uh,
the technique is
assumption,
the way. Sorry.
sorry, so my assumption is that the technique is something that you can read and learn, and the art is probably something that you have that you cannot learn. Actually, it's your behavior, your understanding. Probably it's that kind of stuff. But I need to yeah, read something about it first.
right. I think that could be a good way of looking at it because uh, I don't know if your behavior, your way of expressing it, everything has to come from practice. When you
Actually, the art of selling, like how to get million.
Sunny, we can't hear you. Your audio is so
You sound a
broken.
little like a
Yes, yes, choppy audio. Sunny, can you type it out and I will read it out for everyone?
we put
You can type it into the chat and we can read it out for everyone. All right. While Sunny is doing that,
what earlier. Oh, sorry.
okay. Ben, is that Ben? Ben was trying to say something.
I was trying to say something.
Well, I was trying to say that the technique of selling is basically you just to know the way you do it, right? The way you sell to a person and all the ins and outs of how you do it. But the art should be like the whole general way of looking at sales, like knowing every kind of detail, like Aaron said, and uh, you know how to basically read read your prospects, understanding the pain, everything basically. So yeah.
That's more like it, yeah.
All right.
Also,
Uh,
one more thing before I go here is have you guys heard about the child, the parent, and the adult when it comes
I
to
think I
the prospect?
some. Yep.
no, I haven't.
Yeah, it's basically, if I remember correctly, like you're talking to all these people in one person basically. So you have the child, the parent, and the adult, and you need to
Mhm.
find out which part of the prospect or the person is the child talking, the parent talking, or the adult talking. So you wanna eventually get to the adult. So you gotta go
Right.
through, like, you gotta kind of push aside the child and the parent side, if you know what I mean. So
Right.
just knowing these techniques will help you kind of get to the prospect's pain eventually as an adult.
Hmm. Right. I think what Ben just mentioned has got to do more with something called neuro-linguistic programming. This is a uh, this is a part where this is something which talks about uh, the different kind of psychologies of people whom you meet and classifies them into different natures. Like say, there's a I think we were having this discussion and somebody mentioned about visualizing and things like that on the club. So we were talking about, so there are people who can visualize things. So they are good at looking at something and understanding. They are good at looking at something. When they see a picture, they get the idea. Then there are people who are auditory, or there are people who listen to stuff and they understand. Now, when they listen to stuff and they can create this idea of, they can understand the concept, they can develop an idea in their mind. They are called auditory people. And then there's also uh, a set of people called kinesthetic people. Now, kinesthetic people are people who feel. Kinesthetic people are people who understand things through emotions, through expressions. So one of the one of the ways to identify these people is, like say, when you talk to certain people, when you meet them, when you talk to them, they come and touch you. They touch you when they speak. They try to be more, let's say, when you show them a perfume, when they some when they smell a perfume, their expressions are like a totally different kind of expressions. They enjoy it so much. They enjoy the uh, expression of they do the expression of enjoying the perfume, food. So they do it through their emotions. They understand things through their emotions. They recognize things through their emotions. So there are different kinds of people, and understanding how uh, each person responds. Now, this is what Ben mentioned: the child, adults, and what is the other one?
The parents,
Sorry,
the parents,
parents.
mom and
Okay,
dad. Yeah.
mom and okay. Sunny is still in the waiting room. Sunny keeps getting it. All right. Then there's the child, the parent, the adult. So all of these are also connected to a similar thought process where you are looking at the same person. You are trying to understand which of these people is talking to you. On the other side, what I mentioned about auditory, kinesthetic, and visual people, you are looking at what kind of person am I speaking to. So you are always trying to understand what is going on in the other person's mind. You're trying to read the other person's mind, or you're trying to read the way in which they see things. Now, this could be the technique part. This could be, or you are trying to communicate what, uh, in a method. You are trying to, let's say, in a technique, you could have the information, you could have detail, you could have the call for action. That's a technique. So the technique is something that you can write down. The technique is something that you can uh, put into a book or read from a book. But the art is different. Okay, I'm just summarizing from what we just discussed. So the art is when you are actually able to practice it in a good way, in a successful way, and you are able to make conversions of it. So this hasn't been okay. Now, I would like to connect this with Ursin's question, the question that he left with us before he had to leave the meeting. So I'd like to connect this with that question. It says, the question is, he asked me, or he asked us, he is thinking of doing his master's in business administration. And as a person who has done masters in business administration, what value do I find in it? And how did I find this value? Now, what happened in my life, let's say what happened, the sequence of events was that I was working for almost 4 years in different environments, in different kind of companies, startups, hospitals. So I was uh, I was experienced, and I was constantly involved with my work. This was one of the things which uh, this is one of the things which I always noticed about the difference it made when I went to do my masters. So when I did my masters, the biggest discovery that I had was, oh, we've been doing this, or I've been working at this. I've been working with this technique, or I've been working in this method for a while. I've been using these principles that the class is talking about. I've been using these principles in my work life for a while now. I didn't know it had a name. So when I went for my classes, after working for a while, after putting in my my time with 4 years with different companies, with different establishments, the biggest advantage that I had was the recognition that everything that I'm learning in the class is useful for me in real life, or I have actually already experienced I have experienced the application of this particular theory in real life. So this was one of the ways that it helped me connect better with people, because until now I didn't know it had a name. Until now I didn't know there was a study behind it. So I knew, I had the confidence that whatever I was applying every day in my work, every day in connecting with people. Yes, Aaron, we will see you in the next meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. We had a good time. Thank you for your questions, and I hope I can post the video uh, early enough for you to refer back and use whatever we have discussed as a resource for answering your questions to your sales coach. Yeah,
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend, you guys.
you
And
too.
hey, we should definitely. We're not done with the sales. We're not done with the sales talk. It's not. It's. I think it will take at least 10, 10 discussions. So we should continue this.
All right, and good thing that you have a sales coach. So next time you can bring us some topics. You can discuss some topics. You can lead some discussion on sales, and then we can
I
all
will. I
join
will.
in and we can do this together.
All right. Thank you very much. Take care, guys. Goodbye.
Excellent. See you.
All right. Nice session.
All right. So when I actually came into the when I actually came into the master's program, it actually helped me connect
Thoughts,
better
bro.
with what I was already doing. But the key thing that I identified is, number one, I did take a lot of initiative in whatever I was doing. So when most people around me were trying to reduce their responsibilities without a reduction in pay, of course, they were all trying to keep away from their responsibilities or trying to dump their responsibilities on other people. I was in fact looking for more responsibility. I was taking initiative. I was getting into things. I was getting into trouble also constantly because of getting into things. Because of my
Hmm?
initiative, I was getting into a lot of trouble. But I'm thankful for this trouble, because it
Then,
is because of the trouble that I actually learned a lot of things,
Han?
discovered a lot of things.
Ja, Han. Der Peter,
And
Hans, der Telefon, Hans.
hi there.
Hansi, hi.
Hi. Have you started playing Cashflow yet?
Hansi har begynt å spille Cashflow. Har begynt å spille pengespillet til pappa.
No. Okay.
Eller har du
So
spilt Monopolet? Monopoly. See, Monopoly. Yeah, I bought the Monopoly game
yes, that's a
for
good
a,
start for
for a
kids.
small sum, so we'll start with that.
Yes. Anyway, uh, so I was taking a lot of effort in growing my responsibility when most people around me were trying to have less responsibility. So this is one of the differences that I observed, uh, which actually to uh, help me to make the best of my master's program in business administration. The other thing is that I was constantly looking at ways to improve something, anything that was around me. I was not happy with the status quo. I was not waiting for anyone else uh, to improve it and then I would follow. So I was trying to lead the change. So that is where that is the second thing that I observed. One is about taking up responsibility, the willingness to take up responsibility. The other is that I was taking the initiative to change things around me, to improve things around me. And the third is that I was actually uh, happy to get into uh, the unknown. So I was working in. I studied uh, my degree. My graduation was in engineering. My first job was related to engineering. My second job was related to engineering, which they pushed me into sales after that. My third job was the same. They pushed me into sales after that. My second job didn't last so long. The company had to shut down. So with my third company, I was pushed into sales, but I was not afraid to uh, start something that I was not already doing. So I did not say, "Oh, this is not what I've been doing so far. This is not what I signed up for. You can't demand something like this from me." I was never thinking in those terms. If I was offered the position, if I was given the responsibility, I would just zip it and get into it. So that is the thing that I observed about myself. So I would, and when I got into sales, I was left with no resources. I was not offered anything, no training, no. I had to observe. I had to discover myself what I would have to do. I had to look out. I have to chase my resources. I had to uh, dig. I had to mine them. I had to mine my resources out in sales, and that was when that whole process actually helped me to make the discovery. So I would make observations. I would connect my observations with my findings, my what I discovered. So I would constantly make my effort to get things organized for me in the new thing. So even if I was offered a new job, a new an unfamiliar territory, I was not afraid of getting into it. So these were the things that I followed. I felt was very effective when I went in to get my master's degree. When I went in to get my master's in business administration. So it was very important for me. So it was the class, the teachings became an additional discovery process for me. So it just basically made my life easier rather than me going and searching for resources, rather than me going and looking into books and reading and trying to make sense for myself. This would actually help me because the content was ready, organized, systematic, delivered, and all I had to do was follow the program. So this way, I made the best of my masters because I could connect it with my past. I could look at it in retrospect. I could look at it where I come from, what I've experienced in the past, and then I could connect it. I'm from India, so in India we have a very strong academic culture, and it is a very common thing to see people. They do their graduation, and then they straight away go into business studies. They go into their master's program because they want to finish all the academics in the beginning and then do only work after the academics. I don't think it really gives you a real benefit. But if you've been working for a while, if you've been putting things, if you have been exposed to applying knowledge in real life, then your master's program will actually make a lot of difference to you because you would actually look back, you would look at your experience, connect it with the studies, connect it with the topic, with the subject, connect it with the topics that is being explained to you through the program, through the master's program. And this will actually help us build the build a better understanding of the application that you need to do in your next stage, whether it is your career or your entrepreneurship, even investment, you know, even investment for that matter. The reason why we play the game, the reason why we push so much about the game, the reason why we set limitations for ourselves in the game is because we want to we want to be able to apply our knowledge, our learning in the most difficult conditions and build ourselves. I think we've discussed this before in one of the videos, one of the weekend meetings. But just for the benefit of anyone who's here for the first time, or maybe even anyone who watches this video for the first time, I would say the reason behind all this, why we only play big deals, why we play big deals and go through the leveraging process, why we why we restrict ourselves from playing the small deals, why we don't go into, why we try and learn about every single deal, why we try and connect every deal with the market situation, why we try to understand the description of the deal and say this happened in this year in this country, or this happened in this market in this during this time. The reason why we do all these things is so that we learn to apply what we learn in different situations. Knowledge is worthless if it can only be applied in one situation. Experience is worthless if it can be applied in only one situation. Knowledge is universal. So if I learn something about a deal in the game today, I would be very happy, very excited, very enthusiastic about applying this knowledge in a deal in real life. I will tell you one of my learning from the game. So there's this uh, there's this card about there's a market card about REIT, Real Estate Investment Trust. So this happens for apartment complexes. So if you have noticed this card, I don't know if you've noticed this. You would understand. If you have not noticed this, keep your watch for this. It's a market card which buys any apartment for $30,000 per unit. So it talks about REIT, or rate. REIT. And the first
Yeah,
time
my cash flow diary group, they call it REIT. I was always
REIT,
wondering, like,
yes,
what is it? What is it? I'm not sure about that. So perfect timing.
you know now today. You will you will write this in your cash flow diary in big block letters.
Right,
Real
and
estate trust.
so real estate investment trust.
Yes.
And I what I've understood is like it's basically a big companies that own them or something like that, right?
No. It is a trust fund where you can invest your money. It's like a bank. So a rate is something that invests in real estate, and they they put the returns back into the fund. So the fund benefits. So it's Like a bank, you deposit money. The only difference is that you deposit money, and most banks don't give you anything in return. They don't pay you interest. They don't pay you any benefits. When you invest in a rate, you can actually expect some returns. You can actually expect some. You can. It's a way of putting your money to work. In simple terms, you can actually expect something to come back because the rate, the trust keeps investing in real estate, getting returns out of it, and putting it back to the people who have invested in the fund. So, the first time I thought about this idea, I was thinking of this idea of bringing in people, small investors together, forming a company, and asking them to, I mean, having them invest their money into a fund which can take up a real estate project. And interestingly enough, until then, I had never researched what a rate is, just like Mr. Ben over here. Okay. So when I came up with this idea, I thought somebody must have already thought of this idea. This should be a pretty simple thing to do. And I went on to research about it, and then I found that it is actually called rate. And then I connected back with this market card in the game, which said, "Oh, rate wants to buy." So until then, even though I knew it was a real estate investment trust, I did not know how a rate would work or whether it was possible for us to set up a rate. Okay, a rate is a huge thing. I have just borrowed the idea and made it a smaller made a smaller version. So anyway, so the reason why I'm saying this is everything that the game represents in maybe in simple terms, maybe in complicated terms, is very similar because uh, the game is actually a reflection of what happens in the real life. So because it was adopted from the real life, it is still possible for us to connect back to the real markets and understand the game. This is what we try to do so that we can grow. So every time we put ourselves into restrictions, every time we try to apply what we learn, and that is when I think Steve and me, Steve was not back here. Steve had to leave. So Steve and me, we had the discussion last meeting. So Steve was actually saying, as we discover more, it is surprising and interesting and encouraging to see how it is becoming easier to discover even more. So if we learn and apply, learn and apply, learn and apply, the final thing that comes out is as we move forward, it becomes easier for us to learn and apply. It becomes easier for us to discover more things and apply it. And application is not just in one area. Application is across the board in every area of life. So we can improve our efficiency. We can improve the way in which we present. We can improve the way in which we connect with people. We can improve the way in which we communicate value. And this is the last 5 minutes of this weekend meeting. But I'm really happy that we could actually pick up this topic of sales, and we could discuss internally. Everybody could contribute, and we could all have this uh, have this great time. My summary is very simple. If you cannot jump in, it is not possible. If you do not take the action, it is not possible. Every action needs, every action has some pain attached to it. Every action has some sacrifice attached to it. You deciding to spend time in this meeting today is a sacrifice. Is a sacrifice, but how you apply it will change everything. How you apply what we discussed, how we apply what everyone contributed, how we apply what we have tried to uh, identify, discover, the process will help us change our lives. This is the reason why we hold these meetings. This is the reason why we encourage more people to join. This is the reason so everyone would have the opportunity to grow and apply, learn and apply. And to summarize Aaron's question, this is probably the difference between the art of selling and the technique of selling. The technique of selling would probably tell you how to do it, but the art of selling would be an experience that would put you into the application, that would put you into the front and provide you that experience. Uh, right. So last 3 minutes, and is there something that anyone would like to share? If you want to add topics to our discussion, just drop a line on the club chat. If you come across something that you think would be interesting, something that you would like to contribute to, because I keep doing most of the talking over here, but I would love to have, we'd all love to have great contributions from everyone in the form of questions, in the form of answers, in the form of anything.
Yeah, no.
Sunny, no, you still have to get a better connection, or you would
Just
have
keep.
to.
Sally can keep it in the chat or whatever. So it's much better than hearing the choppy sound. So, but what I wanted to
Unfortunately,
add is that when I was playing with Aaron yesterday, he accidentally just sent the club link just like I did some other times, right?
yes,
And I explained to him a little bit about why we do the way we do when it comes to the, the sales side of our club. So this is a
right,
perfect segment or like perfect transition that you started talking about the sales thing today. That's why I told him that he should come to the Zoom meeting today. And
right.
it's almost like I felt you were going to talk about sales somehow. So and and lo and behold, you did. So it was a perfect transition in that sense.
Good. Sunny wants to ask. I wanted to ask that is information marketing good? Okay. So information marketing, I have no idea what this is about because uh, different things are called different terms. You call, many things are not exactly the. I mean, we don't use the same terms in every market. So if you can explain a little bit about information marketing. All right, like selling courses, premium coaching. All right, yes, yes, yes. If you have a good market, I think Robert Kiyosaki himself has a lot of affiliate programs where he he sells courses about other topics. Like Anik Singhal is one of his associates, so affiliates. So he does affiliate marketing with Anik Singhal. Andy Tanner is another. Robert doesn't talk about stocks and things like that. He lets Andy Tanner to do that for him. Anik Singhal talks more about motivation and coaching and sales and things like that. So he does that. Robert, of course,
E-commerce, I guess,
also
isn't it?
e-commerce. Yes,
E-commerce.
yes, e-commerce. So different topics, different people, affiliate programs. So this is something that Kiyosaki also